Hey guys, hey chess fans. I recently played this online random game and I won this game despite being a pawn down. It was my two knights versus knight and bishop for black, and I start with a3 just to throw my opponent. Of course he's threatening that pawn. On f2 I will offer an exchange of bishops. And he will take and I will recapture. Now that bishop wasn't really important to me because I win this game kingside. And these moves from black are pretty standard here. Nothing too exciting. Knight out, of course. c6. I just push my pawns forward, develop my pawns. And I'm going to be castling kingside in a while. Nice move there. Bishop to the e file. Guarding them diagonals. I get my bishop out so I can castle in a moment. Because of his black bishop, I'll have to bring my knight to f3. That's a good move by me. That pawn on e4. It's guarded by pawn and my white bishop. And I'm going to bring my knight down in a moment to f3. I do lose my rook in this game, but I still win the game. Yeah, just castling kingside there for black and pushing his rook's pawn down one. I'll bring my queen more central. Gives me a chance to castle in a moment. A nice move from knight, threatening the pawn on g3. But I believe he declines this now, pushes his pawn down on f7 to f5. I believe, if I remember rightly. Let's just see what his do's. Yep, threatening that central pawn structure. I'm not too concerned here. I bring my knight out so I can castle. Of course, now wouldn't be a great time, but you have to prepare for it. Pushes the pawn down, threatening queen, of course. And, of course, now I will lose that pawn. And threatening rook, which there's not much I can do. But it doesn't lose me the game. Now, should have black have taken this, or should he have gone back? I've been a bit more cagey. Of course, he knows I can recapture, but still takes that rook. Takes the rook, I take with the queen. So now he's a rook up. I do have two knights. He has a knight and a bishop. His black knight never really got into the game. It was too passive. And his queen was just really defending. So that's why he lost this game, I believe. But let's see what happens. Rook to e6. Some of these games, some of these moves are quite quick, so I can't get my words out quick enough. So on the e file there, f file, sorry. But here, really, these aren't connected, these two pieces, this bishop and rook. Not really doing any damage. He's going to bring his rook over to g6, but I'm completely safe. He's having a good old think about this one. And I can, of course, castle queenside, but because of black's bishop on e6, it kind of makes that awkward, so for now, we'll leave as is. In fact, I will move my king to f2 in a while. Yeah, just like that. Tell me if you think that was a bad move. So now, he changes tacks. Rook's pawn down, queen side to a5. I respond with my push of my pawn on the king side, threatening that rook on another push. So it continues to push his pawns. And I bring my rook onto that g file underneath the bishop. Of course, I think my idea was to trade off the bishops on h3 and then could get control of that g file. But does he swap here? What does he do? And what would you do here? Of course I would lose my rook, but I can recapture the queen. And then it's two knights. Should he have taken the bishop on h3? So takes, of course, I have to take back with the queen. Yes, my rook could be lost, but the king can recapture, or the knight can recapture on f3. I decide to go to that square there, g6, with the idea to bring queen to g8 and get a check, and after the check, a discovered check, of course. And what does black do with this bishop here? It needs to make a good move here, because it's undefended on the h3 file. The most sensible thing, really, is to bring it back to a defensive position. But what he doesn't do is bring his knight into play. Possibly he could have went c6 to e7 and defend that square there. See, now he blocks his own knight. And the black knight on c6 is very passive, it's not doing anything. And now I have control of this g file. And the queen isn't really in the game. He can't take the pawn on h4 because of the knight on f3. And of course, the other knight is also defending. When they're in good positions, they're connected. These two knights are connected, so it's all very good right now. So again, he moves his queen a little bit close to the king. But I still have a possibility of a check On the king, of course, I will lose the rook. But I can now take the pawn on h6, and it's a discovered check, so the pawn on g7 cannot take the pawn, the rook, sorry. Sorry about that, that's just my screen capture and timing program. So black could have done a lot better here. He's given me control of the G file. He's gone very passive. The rook on A8 is just not in the game. The knight on C6 is not in the game. The bishop is back and forth. But my two knights are connected. I have control of that G file and a dangerous rook. Here's that discovered check. Pawn can't take rook. And the idea is to get my rook up to H8 at some point, or on that 7th rank. So what's his next move? Of course he's trying to get a pawn across. He's on the B4 file. Can't take either pawn there. But that knight on C6 is so passive, and it really should have been engaged somewhere in the game, even defensively. Maybe D8, and then from D8 to F8, threatening that rook. It's just not in the game at all. So then, yeah, I recapture. Nothing's really happening here for rook. The black is gonna try and come to this B2 file, but now that covers that move. Knight would recapture on B2, of course. So as I said, one of my knights is defensive and one is aiding on the other side, king side. This doesn't work because I can block with the knight. I've already factored that. Now a good move here might have been pawn down one for black. He could have went G4, G3. Would have been a good move. But instead he just brings his rook back to B3. Threatening the pawn on C3. But I just ignore it and carry on. Now I get my queen forward, and it's going to be mate in a couple of moves. So what should a black done here? He moves his rook across. It's a massive mistake because rook to H8 is mate. And that is mate. And really, again, black shouldn't have lost. But I controlled the king side and that G file. But, you know, black didn't really use his knight. His bishop was kind of back and forth, not really controlling the game. Queen was too passive. And I think he just ran out of ideas. So let's rewind a few moves to see what we could have done different here. Here we go. Let's rewind. What would you have done here? Let's go back about 6 moves. Tell me what you would have done as black to prevent this loss. Because this game really does look savable for black. A pawn up, I believe. Was a pawn up for the exchanges. Bishop and knight, two knights. One of my knights is defending, but his bishop and rook was just too passive. Yeah, we're going all the way back here.